Howdly doodly do, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. Welcome to the Fashionably Late Reviews, the only podcast that is truly late with their reviews. But heck, we still have some words about some video games. And joining me for that is the glorious, impeccable, half vaccinated Amy Kate Alexander. How are you doing?
Half dead.
Half dead. You've got that Bill Gates serum in your body with the nanobots and everything to scan us and everything.
Well, no. I mean, I don't have any particularly sudden enthusiastic, thoughts about Microsoft or whatever. I feel really ill, though, but
Yeah,
that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I read about it. That's a good sign, because it means my body is creating an inhospitable environment for the modified virus, which is what a vaccine is.
Yeah, basically.
Just didn't feel great, though.
It still don't feel great. I know. But no, just think you've got one more time to do this.
Oh, I gotta do it again. And from everything I've heard, it's worse the second time.
Yeah, it can be worse the second time. Like, for me, I had no reaction with the first one, but the second one, I felt more tired, but I also didn't have a great night's sleep the last time, so it was like a mixture of both things. My partner had the crap kicked out of her twice. My brother had the second vaccine, and it kicked the crap out of him. So it's a very mixed bag. You don't know if you will or not.
I do. I did. It hurt. It was rough. It was rough. I'm just gonna say it was a rough. Give 36 hours, give or take.
Yeah, but you're on the road, Amy. You're on the road to be able to come out and hug people again.
I've got to be social with people again, haven't I? Maybe this vaccine was a mistake.
But ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to talk about vaccines or anything else except video games. But we are going to start off with our quick discussion that you want to talk about with the retrospective. Obviously, what is happening with our Mass Effect trilogy retrospective reviews that we're going to be discussing and everything. Further down the line, we're both playing through the Mass Effect trilogy right now. You are on to 2, which is funny. You're the one who was the least enthusiastic to play this series. You're the one who's the most ahead in this series, which is funny.
You realize I haven't hit the point where I'm going to start getting much less enthusiastic about the trilogy, right?
Oh, hell yeah. You're going to hit that when you hit play number 3. Probably.
I'm in the good old days right now. Yeah, I need you to keep up with me here, Moon. You were the one who was supposed to be blasting through these games.
I know. Well, I'm sorry, but I have a degree to go for, Amy, and I have college.
Don't you throw that degree in my face, all right? Just because I went and got mine when I was a teenager.
Yes, you did it when it was the right time to do it, not when it was the wrong time to do it. I am slow, but I get there in the end, ladies and gentlemen. Ask my partner.
Get there faster.
But no, yeah, I won't lie. I thought I would have been there faster by now. I thought I would have completed number 1 by now, but I have not. I am almost there, ladies and gentlemen. I have just beat, just killed the racist. If that helps you, basically, I literally dropped the bomb on her.
Yeah, so we've got one game this week, and that's because I've put a lot of time into the Mass Effect trilogy, like 40 hours, I think, so far.
Say that again?
About 40 hours, I think, so far, give or take.
Give or take, yeah. Give or take. How far are you into 2, may I ask?
It's hard to tell because I've got all the DLCs and stuff in there as well.
Okay, so take DLC out, where are you up to on the story, would you say?
Well, again, I've got a lot of, like, I'm not getting into this with the structure of Mass Effect 2 is very different from a linear video game. There's a lot of things you do. That. It's not just like it's not like Uncharted, where you go from story mission to story mission to story mission. There's things you could do. I don't know how close I am. I'm a damn sight closer than you. So there. Yeah, we've got 3 retrospectives coming up about them. We won't be doing them on this podcast. They're going to be like structured like the other retrospectives that I've done, except instead of being scripted, it's going to be a discussion between me and Rudy.
And we're going to spoil the crap out of them, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a retrospective, of course we are.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the Dishonored one as well. So don't worry, everybody who voted for Dishonored. That'll probably happen after Mass Effect, but it'll still happen. I haven't ignored you. I haven't forgotten about you. Lots to do.
Lots to do indeed, Amy.
Then again, depending on how long it takes Moody to finish Mass Effect, I might get Dishonored done first.
Maybe, Amy. Maybe.
These videos take me about a month to do, so.
Yeah, I can give you a month if you want to get that one first done. That gives me time to replay it again and play as Femshep, so. And ban Garrus, so it's all good, man. It's all good. But we're not here to talk about Mass Effect. We're here to talk about the one video game which came out 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, as of this recording, I believe. But it is Returnal on the PlayStation 5, developed by Housemarque, published by the PlayStation Sony Studios, developers, whatever the hell they call them these days. What is it called? PlayStation. What's the MCU thingy logo thing they have now?
Studios,
that's them, yeah. Even though they don't own Housemarque yet, as of this recording. Who knows what will happen in the future? But yes, they normally do video games of top-down shooter games. They did obviously Resogun, one of the popular games that came out at the beginning of the PlayStation 4 life cycle. Arguably, was one of the best games that came out that year because it was a really great game. And they've also done other games as well, like I believe, did they do Alien Nation?
Probably, I don't know.
They've also done other games as well. They've done some very good games, but overall, but now this is the first time they have dropped into the third-person genre and changing it all up.
Can't have a PlayStation exclusive that's not a third-person game. Jeez, that would be crazy.
I know, Amy. I know. They saw that. That's why when you see Killzone again, it's going to be third-person.
Would surprise me.
Well, Amy, you have played this game. May I ask, have you completed it?
No, I can't.
You have not. You can't.
I can't. And everybody's gonna be like, "Oh no, she's gonna be saying it's too hard." Blah, 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 blah. I can't. The last level is an underwater level. Thanks, Housemarque.
Yes, you don't not like underwater levels. If you've watched our It Takes Two stream. Amy did not have a great experience with one of those levels. It was not a good time whatsoever. But
I've got a video coming out about it. I know I say that all the time, but I do. I've recorded it and I'm editing it. And...
When they come, that's the surprise thing, ladies and gentlemen. It could be any day. Any day.
So I got it's the last biome. You do a thing. You get the ability. You can jump in the water. It's set on, and I was just like, I tried, and I was like, no, it's not happening. I'm out. So, peace. Sorry.
That's fair. That is fair. So you were playing this obviously a few weeks ago, and you were texting me privately through it and everything like that. Just go through a love-hate relationship. It seemed like with this game. There were parts that you were just screaming at, but then you were like, "I'm clicking with it," then you were like, "I'm screaming at it again." So where do you land with Housemarque's Returnal? Because overall, this is a well-received game. It's getting some very great reviews from critics and everything. Yes, we all know it's subjective, and everything we know Amy's opinion is going to be subjective. So just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Your opinion might be different. Doesn't mean you can be a dick. So be nice.
There's no love-hate relationship with Returnal because I neither love nor hate Returnal. Like, I feel neither of those things for it. Honestly, I feel frustration and disappointment because I can't finish it. But, you know, frustration is the overriding feeling I feel with Returnal because, well, we'll get into it. That's a long conversation. Are you ready to strap in?
Conversation. So where do you want to start, Amy?
Well, we can start with something that I unequivocally like about the game. Before we start going into the nuance. That's right. These reviews have nuance, people. Look out. The combat gameplay is really, really good. It's very fast-paced. It's, you know, Housemarque have made arcade games, right? That's what they did.
Yeah, very arcade.
They also made Storm Divers, but nobody remembers Storm Divers, so it's fine. It's a battle royale. It's fine. But like, this is very much like if you took a Housemarque game and made it a third-person action game. Like, it's a mix between like the combat gameplay like sits at like a crossroads between a third-person game, like a third-person shooter, an arcade house mod game, and a bullet hell game. Like it's those three things. Like, it's an interesting mix. And as far as like the combat gameplay goes, it's pretty great. Like you have to kind of figure things out for yourself. Returnal doesn't really let you know what's up at all about anything. So like it's all about, because it's a roguelite, you're gonna be repeating over and over again. Die, start from the beginning, die, start from the beginning, die, etc., etc. So you're gonna be learning, which I know is great, right? It's like, oh, I'm trying to like if I was trying to sell you this game, it's like, what's so great about, what's the best thing about this game? Learning. But like you're in school, right? But like, yeah, it is. It's like you fight the same enemies over again, in different configurations, in different rooms in these biomes, and you learn about them. You learn how to fight them. It's like how people get better at Hades. One, because there's progression. There's like permanent progression in the game. But two, also because you learn, right?
Yeah.
The 50th time you fight Meg, like you can rinse her really easily because you fought her 50 times. It's kind of the same in Returnal. But the combat mechanics really go a long way to sort of making it feel really satisfying. Like it's really fast paced. You know, you've got a gun, you've got your dodge, you've got your melee attack, which I didn't know I had for so long. Thanks for the tutorial, Returnal. Like, and you just, when you put it all together, like when you get into a room with enemies in it, like it just flows so well in the combat that it feels really good in the moment. And the same goes for the boss fights as well. Like the boss fights are genuinely the best part of the game. Like they're fucking great. I loved all of them. Obviously didn't fight the final boss, but fought every other boss in the game. Like we're gonna get into like challenge and difficulty in depth probably later on in this discussion. But like the bosses feel like what the game was tuned for, like difficulty-wise. So the bosses feel really satisfying to fight. They're not easy, but they feel really satisfying. Whereas sometimes there are certain rooms you'll walk into, and you'll see the configuration of enemies in this room, and you'll think, "Well, I'm fucked. This is gonna hurt." Like,
right, just kill me now.
Kinda, yeah. And again, we'll get into that. That's pertinent. We'll get into that later. But like, yeah, it's like there's a biome. I want to say it's the third biome, where it's just like I successfully navigated my way through the third biome by running past half of it, because I hit a severe like wall of just like this is way too much, right? This is way too extreme. This is way too hard. So I ran past everything, and there was like 2 rooms I think you couldn't run past, which I had to fight my way out of, and I cheesed the fuck out of those 2 rooms and ran past the majority of everything else. Got to the boss of the end of that area thinking, well, I guess this is where my Returnal career ends, because if the boss is like, you know, like everything that I've just gone through to get to this boss is an indication, this boss is gonna fucking wreck my day. Beat the boss in the first try. Tremendously awesome fight. But like the bullshit I had to try and wade through to get to it was like, that's where it starts becoming frustrating, right? It's like there's nothing about this game I loved because of the execution of this game, but there were things that I liked, and the combat was good when it wasn't being. I'm just gonna say it, when it wasn't being bullshit. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, I have my opinion about this game. It apparently doesn't mesh with most of the other people out there. But yeah, there's so much about this game that is just bullshit that you have to wade through to get to the good stuff. That's
incredibly annoying, obviously. Yeah. Well, to what I've seen and what I've researched a little bit of it, like there's no saves in it, I believe. There's no choice to change the difficulty, and you die repeatedly. And when you do die, you literally go all the way back to the beginning, which like is a normal roguelike. I can appreciate and everything like that. But I guess after there's a bar now for roguelikes that is incredibly high right now because of That's it. Hades was one of the best games of 2020 and rightly deserves it. And it took a formula that made it not a pain in the ass for me. For me, the baby ass out of both of you and me. You can do roguelikes. You've played them. I've seen you play them, and you've done it incredibly well. But for me, I've struggled with them, and for a lot of the time, when I saw Hades and you told me about that mode that's in Hades, I was just like, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going in. I'm going to die a few times, but I'm going to come out even more musclier by the end of it. And I felt like a badass all the time for it. So there's a bar there now, and obviously Returnal's not hitting it for you. But it's obviously, what are the things that are obviously not hurting this game for you?
So I want to pick up on a couple of things.
Go on.
I'm writing notes in my notes where it's like, Moody has said these things, and I've got notes for those notes. So it's like the first thing is the save thing, because it's a point of contention, and rightly so. It's a point of contention. Like, I get roguelites. I've played a lot of them. You die and you go back to the beginning, and that's how they work. And I've got no problem with that in a roguelite. My problem is, and a lot of people's problems are, especially with Returnals not having a save state at all, like, is runs can be long. Runs can take sometimes 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours. Like, once you start getting deep into the game, and you start like you're trying to do multiple bosses, let's say, or you're running through multiple biomes, you can't save. So like with Hades, for example, you brought up Hades, which is going to get talked about a bit in this review. Like, you talked about Hades, and like I could quit out Hades whenever I wanted. I'd go away and do something else, and the game saves. Like, not to a point where you can save scum or abuse the save or whatever. It's literally just like every time you walk into a room, the game saves itself, so you can quit the run and come back to it. I actually used that feature quite a few times playing Hades for I think it was like 50 hours I played it. In Returnal, you can't do that. And I had a run melted, destroyed, because the game updated and closed. So like you could just put the PS5 in a rest mode and it's fine. And yeah, I did that. And when I came back, the game had updated itself, and the run was gone because the game had closed. And Housemarque's solution to that is, well, don't keep auto updates on. It's like, I'm not turning off auto updates on my PS5 just for your fucking game.
Yeah.
And game dev is difficult. It's incredibly challenging. Nothing is simple, but I'm not doing that just because you couldn't be bothered to put a fucking save state in here. This isn't a problem that hasn't been solved for years. Like, roguelikes do this.
Yeah.
You could do this with anything. I remember when I was playing Dead Cells, and I came back to it after like 3 months away, and when I loaded the game up, it was in the middle of a fucking run, because apparently I just stopped partway through a run of Dead Cells, and months later I came back to it. I was like, oh, I guess I'm in the middle of a run. That's weird.
Like, and the thing is about it, those games are developers who are indie games who really don't have a backing of a publisher / console publisher in Sony. That's the thing, and they're able to do this type of situation, and they have not. It's kind of a bit of a slap in the face towards roguelike fans, really, I would say.
Just in general, because again, it's a slap in the face to my time, right? Because it's like,
yeah,
if you're expecting it to sit down and pump like 2-3 hours into the game uninterrupted, like, I'm sorry, that's not how life works.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes, yeah, there's plenty of times in my life where I'll play a game for hours on end. I played Mass Effect quite a lot, like for quite an unbroken streak last night while I was very feverish, and like, but I rarely know when I'm gonna have that time. Sometimes I just sit down and I play a game, and then it's like, okay, like I got like half an hour sometimes, and I just sit down and I'll sink half an hour into something.
Yeah,
like it, and it's just such a basic feature that it's not revolutionary, and it should be in the game. But I don't want to lean too heavily on that one, because.
But it is a thing, like you say. The biggest thing I think for a lot of people, for roguelikes in general, and not even for the Dead Souls, the Demon Souls, and all like that, Dead Souls, the Bloodborne and Dark Souls and everything like that, are all like the thing. I think a lot of people, like, I know the hardcore say just get good as they get. No, there are problems I'm not able to keep up with. Give me a baby mode. Give me a save mode. Give me all of these things. Why are you making it so inaccessible for people who want to give you a game, want to give you a try? I want to give you money, yet you refuse to accept my money because you want to make it your way when you should be broaden it out. For me personally, I know other people would think differently, but I think you need to broaden it out.
I mean, I agree. I mean, you've seen my Bloodborne retrospective, right? Like,
yeah, you've said it yourself. As much as you love that game, you know yourself.
Well, if you had an easy mode, quote unquote, or a god mode, because like I talked about this in my Hades, the little essay I wrote about Hades, where I said like god mode would be amazing in so many games, like because it like normalizes that challenge, right? You and I, if there was a god mode in, let's say, Returnal or Bloodborne, like you and I would eventually, once god mode caught up with you, have the same level of challenge.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that. Yes, I agree. I think all games should, and it should have that kind of mode, and it doesn't affect my enjoyment of the game in the slightest because I'll just play it the way I played Bloodborne, which is
badass.
Yeah, like a fucking badass.
And you beat it twice in one
like
weekend?
3 weeks? No, it was like 2-3 weeks. It wasn't like 1 weekend. I wasn't that fast at it, but the second run was significantly shorter than the first run.
You beat it basically in the 2-week period of the Christmas period where we were off, wasn't it? Yeah. So
I'd already played a lot of it. Anyway, moving back on. So you mentioned Hades, but I want to save that for a little bit because I want to just talk a little bit more about the moment because I want to talk about guns, maybe.
Guns.
Like, for as amazing as this game, this combat gameplay is, I'm really hoping my voice holds up for this podcast. For as amazing as the combat gameplay is, for as fun and frenetic, fast-paced, satisfying it is, the guns are really fucking boring, man. Like, you've got this cool-ass fucking sci-fi game, or it's like alien world. All of the different biomes look super weird, and they're super, like, alien, right? Like, you would never look around a biome and go, yeah, I guess I'm on Earth somewhere. Like, that's just how well they've created this, like, alien environment. And the fucking guns are a pistol, and an assault rifle, a shotgun, a grenade launcher, a missile launcher. And it's just like, okay, guess we're just using the same guns we've always used. Fine, all right. No worries. So they're a bit boring. They're a bit dull. You can level them up. It's one of the few permanent progressions that you can do. You can sort of level them up. So, like, as you gain weapon proficiency from killing enemies and from finding items in the world. And as your weapon proficiency levels up, this is just in run, as your weapon proficiency levels up, you get more powerful weapons to keep up with the damage curve. In theory, we'll get into that as well later, because that's theoretical sometimes. But you can also unlock traits for each of the different weapons. So by using weapons that have locked traits on them, you unlock those traits, and then those traits become permanent. So you might find an assault rifle. Actually, no, you might find a pistol with burst fire. So, like, you fire 3 rounds by pulling the trigger instead of 1. And once you unlock that can be a trait that can then appear on any of the pistols that you find in the world, which is pretty neat. There's no real builds in this game like there would be in, say, Hades, for example, or Dead Cells, where it's like you're crafting a build as you go along based on the weapons and abilities and stuff that you pick up. There's none of that in Returnal because there's nowhere near enough consistency to it to be able to effectively make a build. Like, you might accidentally create a really good build based on the things that you find in the world, but you won't be able to consistently replicate that in future runs. Like, it's just not possible. You're at the mercy of the RNG gods. This is the third boss, by the way. It's a really good fight on the screen if you're watching this on YouTube. But it's like there's alt fire modes on the weapons. With the dual sense is really, really good in this game. And any alt fire mode in any other game obviously would be mapped to 2 buttons, right? Like, it'll be fire and alt fire. In this game, if you pull the trigger halfway down, there's a stopping point. Like you can feel it when you pull the trigger down and aim down the sights.
Yeah.
And that's your aim down the sights. And then, but if you pull all the way down, all the way past the stop point to the actual bottom, that's you're aiming, but you're using the alt fire. So it frees up a button. Which is, I thought was great. I think that's fucking genius. Like, you get an extra button, but then Housemarque did, because you could turn that off for accessibility reasons, Housemarque then didn't map anything to the button that they freed up, which was like, okay, why did you do this?
Give me all this power, yet
it's fine, because it was like R1 wasn't mapped to anything, so I mapped dodge to it so I could dodge without taking my thumbs off the sticks, and I had a much better time when I did that. I recommend everybody does that. I hate taking my thumb off the stick to dodge.
Yeah, that's annoying. I won't lie, but that's good. That's giving you a choice to be able to at least change the button mapping.
Yeah, you can customize the button mapping however you want. It's really good. Not a lot of console games do this. Whereas they just give you like preset stuff. So it's always good when you can just map the buttons to whatever you want. Because like I said, I had a significantly better time with the game when I remapped the dodge to R1. When I looked at the controller scheme and I was like, oh, I have a melee. That's interesting. I didn't know I had a melee. And also, there's nothing mapped to R1. What gives?
There is now.
But yeah, it's like the alt fires are actually really cool. Like you get again, they're randomly assigned. So like the traits. So like you pick a gun up and it'll have something on it. And some of them are more useful than others. But they're all interesting. Like, you get a laser, or you get a rocket, so you get lightning. Which is greatly useful against boss fights, but hey-ho. Like, I'm not going to get that close to a boss, right? In a shooting game. But but they're pretty awesome. And like the DualSense and the way they use it for the controls is great. And then you've got all the stuff that I talked about in Astro's Playroom, where it's like the footsteps on different surfaces feel different through the haptic feedback. And when it's raining, like you could feel the individual raindrops through the haptic feedback through your hands. Like that, all that cool stuff is in there. I love the DualSense controller. It's fucking phenomenal. To like tangent about a controller for a second. Like
that's what I'm hearing. I won't lie. I'm hearing. That's one of the biggest things I think from most of the PlayStation exclusives. Like the DualSense really backing a lot of the games up and everything, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing to hear and everything like that. So
yeah, like I really like the thing with the trigger. I get that there's an accessibility issue there, which is why it's not 100% standard, and you can turn it off. Because some people won't be able to control their finger enough to because you essentially have to pull the trigger halfway down.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And like you can feel it when you're doing it. It's not like you have to guess where it is. But even I had trouble with that, where sometimes if I was in a fast and furious fight, or I got jumped by an enemy and it's like, or something unexpected happened, I just pull the trigger all the way down and I don't think about it, because that's what thousands of shooters before Returnal like have done, right? It's just like you aim. But to be fair, like I stopped really aiming a lot. It's probably a lot of this footage where it's like I just stopped aiming down the sights because it narrows your field of vision, right? As you focus in, and it's like one thing with Returnal is you need to be aware of your surroundings at all times, because each room is quite big. Enemies will be around you like at all times, and it could be really helpful to have as much vision as possible.
Yeah, that's good.
It was fun. Like fighting was fun. I like fighting in video games. I like shooting things. Stabbing things. Blowing them up.
So I'm hearing a lot of things about the story. Like there's some very interesting things that's going on, especially with the amount of times that you die in the game and everything. So have you experienced any of it at all?
So I've experienced most of the story. The 6 biomes, I got through 5 of them. There's obviously, once I realized I wasn't going to be able to continue, I watched the rest of the story to see what was going on.
Yeah.
Still don't know. The Returnal starts off it's really interesting. It's got a really interesting premise, as you probably know, because you know what the premise is, right? Like, you play as Celine, she crashes on an alien planet, she wakes up, she runs, she fights some aliens, she gets killed, and then she wakes up and she crashes into the planet again, and you're stuck in a time loop. And that's how the game builds itself around the roguelite. element, as well as just like making this story. And you're always doing something in service of the story. Like every objective you have is to, for the first little while, it's you're following a signal.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say. And as everybody knows, because it was in the trailers, like one of the things in this alien world is Celine's old house. Like, like you just randomly come across it. It's a room in the game. And you can sometimes go in there and you do the first person stuff, and then you wander around the house and you start like, I don't know, getting backstory, I guess, a little bit. It's all very, very, very vague. And for me, it's really interesting at the start when it hooks me in. There's a couple of reasons why the narrative fell apart for me. And the first one, a sort of like an overall thing, is it's just too vague all the way down. Like, it starts vague, it continues vague, and it ends vague.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those stories where, like, you're supposed to, like, pay attention, and you're supposed to have questions at the end, and you bring your own interpretation to it. And I love some stories like that, but with Returnal, I never really felt like I had enough of a grasp of what was actually going on, like, to be able to definitively say, maybe I think this is what was happening. Like, the only thing I can piece together from, like, all of the events of the game is a really unsatisfying conclusion for me, personally. So, like, if anybody has any better theories than the one that I came up with, I'm all ears, because that was super unsatisfying. But I will say, like, it starts off really strong. There's a mystery going on. The astronaut is really interesting. It's like almost an antagonistic figure. You'll see them mostly around the house as you go in and do the first person stuff. Like, it's creepy without ever being like full-blown horror, so you don't have to worry about it being like super scary. It is pretty creepy, but then like you can also see the astronaut. I tweeted a picture out of it when I was still playing Returnal. Like, there are places where you can just, the astronaut just is hanging out watching from a distance, and it's fucked. Yeah. It's fucked up. It was just like, it was like I started that biome and I went all the way to the end of that biome, and then I was like, I just thought to myself, I wonder if you can travel back to the first biome, because it was the second one. So I got to the teleporter at the end, and then just before the boss, I was like, I'm gonna try it, and then I teleported back to the beginning. Yeah, and that was when I saw it. Just caught it out of the corner of my eye, and then I was like, wait, what? And then like I approached and I was looking up and I was like, yeah, it's definitely an astronaut. Oh, fuck. Because then you think, is it just watching me all the time? Like, have I just been missing? Like, yeah, it's just like there. If you want a fun thing as well, you sit back down in the cockpit of the spaceship at the beginning one time. That's all I'll say. But there's a really cool twist in the middle of the game, which I really liked. But the reason the story, like, that's one of the reasons the stories fell apart for me. The other reason the story fell apart for me is the pacing is tremendously bad in this game. Like, unless you're a fucking god tier gamer, right? And so, like, if you're a god tier gamer and you got through Returnal, no issues, and it wasn't really that hard, and you killed everything, like, really quickly, this isn't for you. You can go and sit in the corner. But for everybody else, this game stalls a lot. So, you brought up Hades before. And in Hades, every time you die, you're getting something new, story-wise, right? Like, talk to some new characters, maybe you get a new cutscene, do your travels, and maybe you meet a new god, like, on your travels. It's really good at making you feel like you're progressing through the story in some way. Every single time you die. Like, on top of permanent progression and getting more powerful. Like, even like other roguelikes, because I don't want to just keep comparing Returnal to Dead Cells, to Hades. So like even other roguelikes like Dead Cells, for example, you're constantly working towards something, like spending your cells to unlock new items or unlock more health or like different abilities and stuff is a thing. So like even when you're not making progress, you're still making progress. That's like the backbone of roguelites. And in Returnal, you're just not. Like, if you're not beating the boss, you're not making any progress in the game. Like, whichever boss stands between you and the next biome, like, you have to kill it. And it became really frustrating really quickly when I realized this is what was happening. Like, I was quite fortunate in that I got to and beat the first boss of the game quite quite quickly, like within the first couple of hours. Because again, I feel like the combat is balanced around the bosses as opposed to the run up to the bosses. But it was when I got to the second biome, and again, I got to the boss quite quickly, but I just ran out of speed. I didn't have the RNG on my side. Like, I didn't have good weapon. I didn't have good abilities. And I didn't make it to the end of that boss fight, right? And then it took me another 8 or 9 runs to get back to that boss. And on those 8 or 9 runs were quite lengthy because you can unlock shortcuts to get to the bosses, right? To get to the next biomes, to do this, to do that. But if the more you use shortcuts, the less stuff you're picking up, right? So like you're getting less weapons, you're getting less health upgrades, you're getting less parasites, which are really interesting. Where you like they're like they give you a positive and a negative, if that makes sense. So you attach them to yourself because Celine's all about scientific method of just attaching parasites to a fucking head. But they give you like a positive and a negative, so you got like to weigh the benefits and the drawbacks.
Oh, yeah.
They're really interesting. But like you're not getting any of this stuff unless you actually go through all of the rooms in the biomes. And like, so for the first couple hours, it was pretty well paced. Found the house, did the first person bit, got out, died, did the whole Returnal thing. Like, it's like, it's a time loop where you wake up whatever. And then, like, got to the boss, killed the boss, and then it was like, I've opened up the next biome. Mint, I'll go to the next biome. Got fucking obliterated. Yeah. Did another run, and the house was lit up again, so I could go back into the house. Did the house again, so I got another piece of the story. And all the while, I'm finding new rooms, which means I'm finding new audio logs from dead Celines. Which is cool because, like, the audio logs and the voice acting in them are fucking tremendous. They're so good. Then I got to the boss, died, and then for the next 8 or 9 runs, it was literally just going from the beginning to trying to get to the boss, going beginning to try to get to the boss. I was finding no new rooms, so I wasn't getting any new audio logs. The house doesn't unlock because I haven't killed the boss. There's no progression. Literally, every run is dedicated to powering up and beating the boss. So, yeah. Whereas, like, I'm compelled to keep going through Dead Cells because even if I'm stuck, I'm unlocking stuff, or I'm compelled to keep going through Hades because even if I'm dying, I'm still getting new stories and cutscenes and character interactions. In Returnal, I'm getting nothing in return for being stuck. I'm just stuck. And there's no worse feeling than playing a game. And I feel like I could even be talking to my hardcore get-gooders out there. There's nothing worse when playing a game than getting stuck.
I think I can agree with that. I think that's a spot on thing. That, like, you don't want to... If you're just stuck and you're just not getting anywhere, that is, I think, the biggest pain in the butt out there.
So then, like, when I got past the second biome and I realized I was going to get stuck in the third one, I enacted the sprint protocol. Just run past everything. Ignore the side rooms that are in there because, like, they'll fucking kill you. And just go for it. Like, and it worked. And I don't think that's a good thing, really. Like, I don't think that's a good showing on Returnal's part because, as I said because he's cleverly tying this all together, even though I've got more stuff to say after this, as I said at the beginning, the combat gameplay is the thing that is really great and I really love.
Yeah.
But to make progress in the game, to stop being maddeningly locked behind, like, boss fights and whatnot, or, like, areas, is like I have to skip a lot of it to get to the next part of the story. So the pacing is terrible.
That is incredibly annoying.
So I fell off the story, like, really quickly.
Aww.
Also, there's a thing with music in this game. It happens in the 4th biome. It was really jarring. So there's this repeating 5-note melody.
Yes.
And it's hinting at something that happens later on in the game. But the 5-note melody, it's from a song. It's quite a famous song. It's a song I've listened to about 2,000 times in my life. So the instant, because I think the first time you see it, I think, is in a flashback where Celine plays it on the piano.
Yes.
And the instant she did that, I was like, I know what that is. And then as you're exploring the fourth biome, you can hear it all the time. So I got this song stuck in my head, Pray, and it was really jarring, and I found it quite funny. And don't think it was supposed to be funny, but I don't think you're supposed to really be able to tell what song it is until the end of the game. But because I've heard it so many times, I was like, oh, great.
So that's how the Force works in this game.
So I guess I'm just gonna be hearing this song in my head for the rest of my life. Fucking awesome. And that's not a criticism or anything. I just thought it was funny, and it was kind of weird.
But it's not what you want, though.
Yeah, it's all right. Like, I mean, we've had discussions about games a few times where I've said, like, I think it made me laugh, and I don't think that's what the developers were perhaps going for.
Probably not. Probably not, indeed. There's no doubt about that. Which sucks.
But yeah, there's so little to keep you going if you get stuck between runs. Like, the only thing keeping me going personally was that I knew I was going to be sitting down and do this podcast. Like, if I was just a normal gaming person who shared my gaming thoughts on Twitter whenever I felt like it, I don't think I would have got past the second biome. Like, the only reason I got past the third biome and did the running tactic to get to the next boss was because I realized I needed some more footage. I was like, I need to record some more footage, even if it's just of me dying. Like, cause I'll get snippets of bits that I can use. And then I was like, I'm going to run at the boss and try and get footage of that boss. And then I beat the boss and then continued on. And it was just like, but it wasn't like a eureka moment where it's like, if I get stuck on a boss in Bloodborne, like you watched me stream a bit of Bloodborne last year, when I got stuck on the Blood-Starved Beast and then I finally beat the Blood-Starved Beast. And my reaction was, satisfaction, elation, joy, even. And now I can continue the game. When I beat the third boss in Returnal, beat even the second boss in Returnal, it was just relief. It was over, and now I can get to something new.
like now I can rest.
I'm not like, it's not like, yes, and now I'm powered up and psyched up to keep going. It's just like, okay, I guess I'll keep fucking playing then. Got nothing better to do. Mass Effect's not out yet.
Yeah. Well, that's not what you want to see. Like, you don't want it to feel like a grind. You want to feel like you want to have it. There's like we've said it many times. Every game has a grind, but you don't want to be feeling the grind. You want to feel like you're succeeding at what the game wants you to do and everything. And if the game is basically sounds like it's actively trying to stop you from doing that, that's disappointing. And
I'm like the kid, right? Trying to fight the adult, and I'm swinging, and they've just got the hand out, and they're just holding my head, and it's like I can't reach, and I'm like, come on. Like, that's how it feels playing Returnal. Like, what I need is, you talk about, like, not feeling the grind. Like, I don't even mind if I can feel the grind. Like, I've literally done grinding I mean, I'm a JRPG fan, really. I live the grind. But, like, I want to feel like I'm making progress. And progress can mean many different things, right? Like, in Bloodborne, even if I'm stuck on a boss, I can level up. I can find new items. I can explore places I've never explored, right? Like, I don't have to repeatedly smash my face against a boss in Bloodborne. In Hades, I'm unlocking the story constantly. In Dead Cells, I'm progressing towards unlocking stuff. Like, that's going to make me more powerful, or that's going to help me in future runs. In Returnal, if I'm progressing, in no way. There's no way I'm progressing. I'm learning a little bit more about the enemies.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Like, once you die a couple of times in the same area, that's it. Everything stops until you can get past it. And for me, that was a deal breaker.
That's not what you want.
Like, this game would have been, and what hurts is, and I'm fine with Housemarque or any other developer making any other game they want to make. I'm throwing this out there as a hypothetical thought experiment. For me, this game would have been 100 times better if it wasn't a roguelite.
Okay.
That first exploration of that first biome, when I didn't know anything about the game, and I was just exploring this weird alien forest, and I was everything, literally everything I was finding was brand new, right? That was where I enjoyed the game the most. And every subsequent run after that, I was enjoying the game a bit less.
So if it was just a story-based game, you probably would have enjoyed it.
Probably.
A story-based third-person action game.
I think so, yeah. I don't know if it would have eroded my enjoyment quite as much, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Any more thoughts on the game, maybe?
Let's have a look. Should turn the page, really, shouldn't I used most of the second page in what I just talked about. I think that's all of my my thoughts on it. Like, the worlds look incredible. Like
it does look visually stunning. What I've seen.
Each of the I'm at that point in time now where I'm gonna stop praising a next gen game just for looking pretty. Like, oh, the graphics in this game look amazing. Of course they do. It's on PS5, right? But what I will say is the game looks amazing, but the environmental design and like the way the world looks itself is incredibly good. Like, you got 6 very, very distinct biomes, and they all look amazing. Like, and you just feel like you're on this this hostile, oppressive alien world, which is definitely what, you know, the developer was going for, because that's what the game is about, right? You're on this oppressive, hostile alien world, and not just alien in terms of it's another planet, but like alien in terms of like you're just looking at it and it's just like this looks alien. This looks like nothing you'd be able to see anywhere on the planet Earth, and the atmosphere is so good. When you're exploring places for the first time, right? Like when you're finding brand new stuff and you're exploring like entirely new places, it's just like, it's so cool. And like the sound effects, I didn't even mention the sound effects. Maybe the sound effects are incredible. Like the sound design in this game is ridiculous. Like, it's so fucking great. Especially when you combine it with the haptic feedback. And except the only thing I don't like is whenever you have power-ups, right? Your alt fire is on a cooldown, right? So you can't just keep continuously use it. Whenever the cooldown ends, your controller practically screams at you. Comes out of the speaker and the controller is like, it's really loud. It's like, oh, fuck.
I can't handle this.
It's like, you can fire again! Ah! Stop shouting at me! But yeah, it's like the sound design is magnificent. The game looks stunningly incredible. Like,
yeah,
the designs of everything like around the game, like the art department just went fucking hog wild to make it an alien world, and I'm here for it.
Oh, that's great to hear. Like, that's what I'm hearing. Like I say, there's like visually stunning gameplay overall, action gameplay, the mechanics and everything very well. But it's like the roguelikeness, the lack of saves, to basically forcing you that if you pause this game and you like put it in the what's it called?
Rest mode.
Rest mode, that's it. My brain was farting there. Rest mode, and then it could update itself, and then just basically, we don't care. That's the thing is about when you hear a developer say we don't care. It's like, oh, come on, seriously, we just bloody bought this game, and you are literally giving us the middle finger. Well, and that's not what you want to hear.
It's frustrating, right? It's because like they talk about the like preserving the sanctity of the experience, right? And I have 2 thoughts on that. One, other roguelites have proven that you can have a save function, right? And when you die, the save just gets deleted. Yeah. Like, this has been a staple of other roguelites for years. But 2, like, if you're worried people are going to somehow manage to save scum, bearing in mind this is a PS5 game, not a PC game, right? Like, I'm sure there's stuff you might be able to do with, like, cloud saves and stuff. And it's like, if you die, maybe you can quit out of the game fast enough before the save gets deleted. Or you can download the save file from the cloud, and then you can keep going in the run that you're in instead of starting from the beginning and break the entire experience of the game. But, Moody, let me ask you a question. If somebody was doing that, who cares? Like, if some person decided that they wanted to use the save states to continue a run after dying so they could, like, beat the game, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
That's the way they want to experience the fucking game? Fine, whatever.
shouldn't be criticized or hampered for allowing a person to enjoy the game how they wanted to play. I can appreciate the developer wants you to play it in this type of way, but you can still have that by allowing by also still allowing people to enjoy the game by giving them more accessibility towards this. And that's what I would hope that happens in the future and everything. Like, say, indie developers are doing this. Indie developers who don't have the money or the backing compared to what, no offense, Housemarque do with Sony and everything. And like, come on, if you got the backing of that, you should have been able to do this personally. But I'll like at the same time, this is your decision, Housemarque, and it's been an incredible success to what we've heard and everything like that, which is really, really good to hear.
I'm under no illusions that my opinion isn't an outlying opinion. I've seen so many people fall in love with this game on Twitter, and I always get this feeling whenever this happens, right? Like, Returnal is beloved by a lot of people I know, and that's cool, and it's awesome, and I'm really happy for them. And like, if I see a lot of people loving a thing, and I'm not vibing with it as much, like I know this is stupid, and I don't necessarily want to provoke a discussion about this because I know it's dumb, but like I always think there's something wrong with me, not that there's something wrong with everybody else. Like I always go, why can't I enjoy this thing the way you are all enjoying this thing?
Yeah, no, yeah, I think I'm kind of like the same there with you. Sometimes when I've had that with this thinking, I'm just not clicking with this. I'm happy you're enjoying it. I celebrate this. I'm thinking, is there something wrong with me type of thing?
Yeah.
But no, there isn't. It's just personal taste, and you ain't vibing with this game, and that is disappointing. Obviously, this is the thing about it. You don't want to crap on a game. You want to say, this is fantastic, guys. Go out, celebrate it, support Housemarque and everything like that. We want to be both saying this is a thumbs up and everything, even though I haven't played the game, but you know what I mean?
Oh my god, Moody. Like, knowing you and how you feel about video games, like when you get your PS5, just leave it on the shelf.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to touch it. I don't think I'm going to touch it.
This is not your kind of thing.
When I saw the trailer for it, when we saw it on the PlayStation reveal, I was just like, I like Housemarque. So I was like, I admitted that. But now I'm just like,
I would put you in the same I would put you in the same category as I would put Keith for Bloodborne. In that, like, if this game had God mode, like from Hades, right?
Yeah.
You'd love it. You'd
probably
be like a top 5. Returnal is the fucking shit, right? It's fucking amazing. Like, Keith would be the same. Like, if he could play Bloodborne, he would love Bloodborne.
I think I'm kind of like the girl from the girlfriend from the girlfriend reviews. That she admits herself, she has slow hand-eye coordination. I have that, and I have, just like her, I haven't got patience. Like, I can lose my patience really fast with a game if it's vexing the crap out of me, and that's sadly what would happen if I was playing a roguelike or a Dark Soul or Souls game and everything like that, because I just know they are not making me want to enjoy the game. And hell, you enjoy the game however you want and everything like that, but hell, games are great, and we both celebrate anybody who has enjoyed Returnal.
And definitely.
If Housemarque want to throw in a baby mode or a god mode just to make it that more accessible, I will be right there for that.
I do want to point out at the end of this podcast, if we're at the end, I don't know if we're going to keep talking, but I think I just want to throw out that I went through and did about 40-ish minutes Returnal review. And this is for the people who are going to shout, "Get good! You didn't like Returnal because it was too hard." I didn't mention difficulty once in the entire review. I didn't mention difficulty.
I did.
I'm just going to point that out.
Yeah.
The difficulty did not bother me in the slightest.
That's the thing about it.
I think it was unbalanced in places, but I solved that myself by running past everything. My Resident Evil training kicked in, Moody.
Telling you that? The game be giving you that option.
Absolutely not.
It's like watching Aliens Colonial Marines again, where you could literally run through some levels without even shooting a bloody bullet.
I mean, I'll counter that point by saying if the game didn't give me that option, I wouldn't have gotten any further in it. But No, it was my Resident Evil training kicked in, right? It was just like, oh, I could just run past things. I don't have to fight everything. Dodge, 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 dodge.
Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what are your thoughts on Returnal. Do you agree with what Amy's saying? Do you disagree? Even if you do, if you don't, no, that's all good. It's all good. Just be nice in the comments, please. This is all about a nice discussion, not a debate to try and change Amy's mind and tell her that she's wrong, because she isn't wrong. It's her opinion. All right, so let's all be kind and nice. That is it. Let's get out of here, Amy. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time for more Fashionably.
Oh, I got some indie games to play. Yeah, you wouldn't believe.
And I might play something other than Mass Effect.
I'm taking a break after 2 because I want to play other things. And also, like, I'm so far ahead of you. I've like built up this like buffer so I can actually like stop playing. Cool. Yeah, those are.
I'm gonna get to 2, and you're gonna be like, "Shit, he's caught up."
Oh, fuck. You're gonna get through 3 faster than me because I don't want to play 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, those retrospectives. I'm hoping they'll come out. There'll be 3 of them. They'll probably come out one like over 3 weeks. And I'm hoping they'll start coming out towards the end of June.
After E3.
But yes, but don't hold me to that. It's entirely
I'll
possible.
say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to E3, I don't think we're going to be doing much apart from watching the shit and hopefully enjoying it.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Bye, everybody.